Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Deleted. My 27 male girlfriend, 25 female, has been working with a life coach, 45-ish male. Except I think he's just a con artist who wants to get in her pants. I am not sure if I'm being a jerk about this or if it is fair for me to say something. My girlfriend Rachel has been seeking direction from a self-proclaimed life coach that she met recently at grad school. This dude is probably about 45 years old and going to grad school in the same program as Rachel. He worked with Rachel and a couple of others on an assignment, and Rachel would come home every day she had a class with him, all excited about the advice he had given her or what have you. He is a yoga instructor who also claims to be a life coach on the side. Feel free to sigh heavily to yourself here. He has no credentials and no life coaching business to speak of. I think he just woke up one day and decided he could spew enough vague BS to get people, young women, to shell out money for his coaching. If I sound bitter, it is because I am. This dude is charismatic as hell, and he convinces people that he is worth their time and money when he is not. Rachel convinced me to go out to dinner with him so I could see for myself how great he is. Has to be in my top 3 most awkward and uncomfortable social events in my life. I could not help myself. I questioned him on everything and backed this guy into a corner multiple times. Despite exposing this guy as a bumbling fraud a few times throughout dinner, Rachel was annoyed with me when we left because she said I acted immaturely and it embarrassed her. Agreed that I was immature, but how can she not see this guy for what he is? It boggles me and also drives me freaking insane. And yes, I am jealous of the dude for the amount of attention Rachel gives him. I am human. This guy convinced Rachel to start coaching sessions with him, which are $50 a pop, and she goes twice a week. Rachel is in grad school. Rachel does not make a lot of money at her very part-time side job. I am out of grad school and make a comfortable living. So who do you think is really footing the bill for this? Look, I am fine with paying most expenses. The house we live in together is in my name. I am fine with paying the mortgage. So please don't misunderstand me that I am trying to throw my weight around as the breadwinner. She is in school and I get it, and it's not a problem. Once she graduates, she will most likely be making more money than me anyway. For the record, we met 4 years ago when I was a broke-ass student, so she is not using me for money. What annoys me about this in particular though is that I am basically paying some guy to feed my girlfriend a bunch of BS and hang out with her one-on-one. I know without a doubt that this guy wants to bang Rachel. I'm not being paranoid or insecure. The dude wants to bang my girlfriend. I could see it a mile away before I ever even met him, and once I met him, it was confirmed. Sometimes there is this unspoken tension between people when you both are gunning for the same romantic interest. I could feel it, he could feel it. Apparently the only one who couldn't feel it is Rachel. Why do I think he wants to bang her? Rachel has that thing that a few people have. Charisma is through the roof with that one. Everyone who knows her loves her and she captivates people immediately. She is so unaware of the lure she has, which I suppose is good just because it has kept her so down to earth and sweet. Then there's the physical aspect. Rachel is gorgeous. She is just naturally stunning. Maybe this is just me, but I love the way she smells. Her natural scent and even the smell of her sweat turn me the hell on. Her pheromones make me crazy in the most awesome way possible. I love the girl if you can't tell. I have kept my thoughts about him wanting to bang Rachel to myself. I brought it up once at the start of all this, and she was so firm that this guy was more like a father figure and their interactions were totally platonic that I dropped it because I believe her and I trust her. I truly believe that she has no other intentions with this guy other than to be friends and to learn from him. I am not going to badger her about the guy. All it is going to do is drive her away and make her feel like she has to defend herself. The only reason I haven't completely lost my mind over this is that I do believe that if this guy makes a move, she will shut him down immediately. It doesn't mean it does not bother me though. The thought of him even trying makes me want to put my head through the glass. However, I now have a financial reason to cut back her time with this guy. Rachel does yoga and she switched studios to the place this guy teaches so she can take his class. Her previous yoga class was free as a student perk and his class is not free. I am considering telling her that I won't keep paying for her yoga classes with him or the coaching bull crap. My concern is that this is controlling or that I am being a jerk if I do this. Rachel already knows I think this guy is a fraud, and she knows that I thought it was not only wasteful but nonsensical to switch to his yoga class when her other one was free. Ah man, this sucks, OP. Your girlfriend got sucked in by one of those fake gurus that just spill BS like you say. I think you have a genuine concern, OP, and if you want to nip this in the bud, then you need to be smart about it, in the sense that you shouldn't accuse her or him of wanting to do anything outside of the relationship. Because as you say, then she's gonna feel the need to defend herself, and the conversation goes from this BS guy to you being insecure and jealous. If I was in your shoes, I'd go through the credentials route. There's a reason why your girlfriend wants this coaching one-on-one with a life coach or something. I don't know why, but she's got her reasons. Why not offer her a certified one? One that is a proper life coach that can actually help her instead of this BS guy. And that instead of paying for the yoga and the bogus life coaching, she goes to the free yoga and gets a certified coach for the same amount of money. That's what I would do if I was in your shoes, because nothing else has happened that would require any kind of other action. And what do you guys think about this? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Wizard Glick says, I almost stopped reading when you stated you're paying for this guy. Dude, come on. Look, if she wants to go to a life coach, there are actual psychologists with actual degrees in this field. I would stop paying for anything this guy runs and let her know you have no problem with her having a life coach, but you'd rather her having one that's actually qualified to be one. She's not your wife and therefore doesn't get to decide what you do with your money. Newbie Lurker says, when you ask yourself, why do I think he wants to bang her? The answer you give yourself is essentially, she's amazing, she's beautiful and sexy. Of course he would want to bang her. Which, on the other hand, it's great you feel Rachel is irresistible to men and that anyone will want to have sex with her, but on the other hand, that says nothing about the actions of the life coach and would presume all males in contact with her and a few women are just trying to get in her pants. Not saying that he doesn't want to have sex with her, just that nothing you describe says that he does. Okay, and as for Rachel, have you had a conversation about what she is getting out of this life coaching business apart from 90s nostalgia? Not in general terms, as in after a session ask, how did it go? What did you learn? And listen to the answer. Your first instinct will be to dismiss this guy as a charlatan. Fair enough, but try and resist this. There is a reason she is seeing him. There is a benefit she is getting, and if you want her to stop seeing him, you would need to find a way to give her that benefit somewhere else. And OP responds, that isn't the only reason I think he wants to bang her. I included in my post that I could practically smell it on him when I met him. There was no mistaking to tension. It is hard to explain if you haven't experienced something like that before. Believe me, the guy wants to bang her. I don't think every guy wants to bang her, but I know this one does. She has told me some of the stuff he tells her, and it is all stuff that anyone could tell her, really. I think it has something to do with her father passing a few years ago, and this guy seems like a fatherly figure that she can trust. I just can't get her to see that he is not someone she can trust. He does not have good intentions, and he is using her. I used to ask specific questions about her sessions with him, but after hearing how full of crap the guy is, I don't. It is hard to hurt her feelings when she's feeling good after a session, and I just can't match her enthusiasm or lie and pretend I think he is giving good guidance. Thanks for your advice. The Babes too says, if Rachel wants yoga and coaching sessions, Rachel can pay for them. I get that she's a poor, starving graduate student, but that's life. If they are truly important to her, she'll find a way to make it work. You two aren't married, and even if you were, you are under no obligations to support her every whim. I'd argue that you already do too much in terms of financial support. It sounds like she is insecure and he preys on that. Chances are she's probably feeling pretty scared about the future and finally having to grow up at 27. She's about to have to find a job, pay bills, and leave the cushy little safe space of academia. Get her to go to the school's mental health center and talk to an actual professional about what's going on. Additional information from OP's comments. This whole situation is ridiculous. However, I do think there are some people who assume the best in people. I think Rachel is one of them. She thinks his age makes it secure that their relationship is platonic. She sees him more in a fatherly way and thinks he sees her as sort of a daughter type thing. I am jaded as F, so I see right through him. But not everybody is as jaded as me and most people. Rachel definitely tries to give people the benefit of the doubt. Normally, it solidifies my love and admiration for her, but in this situation, it sucks. And yes, it does suck to pay $100 a week to a guy who wants to F my girl. This is why I'm asking for opinions on pulling the plug on footing the bill. It sucks real hard. I've never been one of those ridiculous men who always assume their girlfriend is going to cheat if she is friends with a guy. If he makes a move, she won't reciprocate. I'm not even worried about that at all. That doesn't make me stupid either. Just means I am in a relationship in which I trust my partner of over 4 years not to F some other guy just because he wants to F her. Alright, well I guess the community gave OP some fair advice. I did like the second commenter's post most of all. And OP shared some context as to why he's having a hard time with this. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Well, everyone, everything turned out fine. I just sat Rachel down last night and really calmly and clearly told her my reasons for not being on board with her seeing this guy. Amazing how calm and mature communication can fix most issues. Rachel was really receptive to what I was saying. First off, I made sure she knew I was not accusing her and that I didn't think she had done anything wrong or cheated, and I was not mad at her. I did ask her to explain what is it about him that she is so drawn to. She clarified that she doesn't just view him as a father figure, but that he reminds her of her actual dad. Her dad died really suddenly a few years ago, and it was really hard on her, as you can imagine. So she said in some ways it felt like she was taking advice and learning from her dad, which was a comfort to her. So I got a better understanding of the why of her seeing this guy. When I brought up the sexual part of it, I took one person's advice on here and didn't say it as, "This guy definitely wants to bang you," but instead told her I had a feeling about him and that I was legit concerned about her safety and her feelings. I didn't want her to trust this guy and see him like a father just to have him stomp all over her trust and feelings when he tried to cop a feel or come on to her. I did make sure to tell her how much I trust her, and that the only reason I didn't have a mental breakdown over her spending time with this guy was that I know she wouldn't cheat, and she would have shut him down if he tried. Rachel said she really never felt an attraction from him to her. I asked if she would really think about what kind of people this guy works with. Are there older women, men, couples? She thought about it and it looked like it dawned on her finally. She said she had never really thought much of it, but that every person she had ever seen him work with were young women. Then she got all creeped out, finally. Rachel agreed to stop the sessions with him and to go back to her free yoga, just like that. She realized why it was inappropriate and why it bothered me, and she immediately agreed to stop. I offered to gladly pay for her to see a certified life coach, but she said she doesn't think she even wants one. She did accept my offer to help with any costs there may be to go see a therapist so she can work out her feelings and issues with her dad's death. She felt really bad because she didn't know how much this all had bothered me. She told me that she knew I didn't believe in him as a life coach, but that she really didn't know that I viewed him as a predator and someone I felt like I needed to protect her from. She told me that I should have told her sooner and she would have stopped going to this guy. One thing I'd like to clear up. I was not clear enough on my original post though when I said that, who do you really think is paying for it? I didn't mean directly. She pays less on expenses because she's paying for his sessions, so I'm paying for it indirectly. She hadn't thought of it that way either, so she agreed with that as well after I explained. I let her read the original post after we talked, and that was super helpful too. It was basically backup that I was never trying to be controlling or accusatory, and that I was just worried and frustrated. I didn't want her to look through the comments at first because seriously, believe me when I say how sweet this girl is. She is sensitive and just really kind. I didn't want her to see all the people who dogged on her and made her out to be a terrible, stupid woman who was using poor little clueless dumb me. I finally agreed this morning, and it was actually hilarious to see her do her thing on there. Some of you probably already know that since Rachel actually got on there and responded to quite a few comments. What can I say? The girl is amazing and life is pretty great right now. And communication once again for the win. Thank you so much for sharing, OP. This was a great update. Now, it wouldn't be an LG video if I didn't scour the comment section to find out what the girlfriend said. So how about we finish this post with that? Please note, of course, that everything that is written in first person is from Rachel's perspective. It sure does seem ridiculous that I wanted to go to this guy's sessions instead of a certified life coach. Honestly, this guy reminds me of my actual dad. My dad died a few years ago, and it has been a real struggle since he was my only living parent before he died. Not a sob story or looking for pity, but this guy reminds me of him, so it sort of felt like taking advice from my dad. I also do not in any way want to sleep with him, and I really haven't felt like he wanted me sexually until Tom and I talked last night. He asked me to think about every interaction and every touch. He asked me if his yoga class or sessions have many men in them or older women. When I actually peeled back the screen of him reminding me of my dad, I realized that his yoga class is full of college women such as myself, and that the people I see him with on campus that he is coaching are all young, attractive women. It doesn't make me dumb to not have noticed before. I just was really trusting this guy, and I guess thought I could because I was associating him with memories of my father. I have happily agreed to stop seeing this man for sessions and to go back to my free yoga class. Now, just to be clear, considering the number of bitter comments, I am in no way using Tom for money. I met him when he was broke and could offer literally nothing financially. I paid for almost all of his expenses during grad school, and now he is doing the same for me. I didn't trick Tom into anything. I didn't come home one day and open up my hand to him expecting him to drop $100 in it. I pay for them with my part-time job money. Also, Tom generously offered to pay for me to go see a certified life coach, but I don't know if I want to see any life coach. After this, I realized that I can talk to Tom about anything because he will be amazing about it. And as Tom clarified in his update post, he doesn't directly pay for this. He is indirectly paying for them because I am not paying for expenses when I pay for the sessions in yoga. I didn't know he felt that way until we talked. I also didn't know how much this man bothered him until we talked. Tom is an amazing man for trusting me, and I believe that I would never reciprocate in advance. I really doubt I would have kept my composure nearly as well as he has if he was hanging around a woman I thought wanted to have sex with him. Now that I know truly how he feels, I am completely willing to give up seeing this man at all. Tom means so much more to me than this guy and his yoga or advice. And Tom was right. I would have been horrified and really upset if the guy had tried to make a move on me. Tom is also right that I would never have reciprocated in advance from this or any man. Communication, smiley face. That's all it took for us to just sit down and calmly talk to each other. I feel so incredibly fortunate to have a partner who trusts me so much not to cheat that he tried to give me space to find out something on my own. Now that I know how he feels, I would never continue seeing this guy. Tom means so much more, and he is not being unreasonable for feeling uncomfortable. Like I just said, I doubt I would have acted as level-headed if the tables were turned and some woman clearly wanted to have her way with Tom. Alright, and that is the whole story. Like OP's girlfriend said, communication. Nothing more to say. Thank you for sharing the both of you. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Vegas Mac Guy. Copywriter will have a hard time finding a job with that resume. Many years ago, I worked at Kinko's, now FedEx office. I often worked graveyard shifts and had to deal with lots of people early in the morning who hadn't had their coffee yet. For some context, overnight was the time when long machine runs were printed and tedious finishing work was done. Being the only one working until 6 a.m. when the morning crew started to trickle in, I was often in the middle of something when the customer came in and it would take me a second to get to the counter to help them. One morning around 5 a.m., I'm in the back doing some binding work. I hear the door alarm and had just put a perfect binding in the heater. This takes about 15 to 20 seconds to melt the glue and bind the pages. Me, yell from the back, "I'll be right out." Bitchy customer yells back, "I'm in a hurry." I finished the binding and get up to the counter, telling her I'm sorry for the wait and asked her what I could do for her. She says, "Can I see your resume paper selection?" Our resume papers were literally sitting 6 inches away from her on the counter, in a little bound book that had resume paper printed in big bold letters. I slide the book over in front of her and open it up. As she flipped through it, she proceeds to complain about the color and texture of every paper before asking me the price. I tell her it's 15 cents per copy plus 7 cents if she wanted to print out the second side. "That's expensive. Don't you have any better pages for that price?" "Sorry, that's our full selection of resume papers. The only other options are plain white copy paper, Astro Brights, neon colored, or cardstock. Are you going to need this double-sided or single-sided? I could see that she had in front of her a 2-page resume, which was usually printed single-sided. She asks which one is cheaper, and I told her that double-sided will be cheaper, but for a resume, our customers usually preferred single-sided. Finally, she says, "Just give me 50 copies double-sided on the sandstone." I confirm her selection and head back to the copier to complete the order. I print out a proof, and as a matter of quality assurance, I give it a once over to confirm we're not getting any fuser marks, random spots, streaks, etc. I noticed that her job title on her most recent job was something like copy waiter. I assumed she meant copywriter and confirmed as much by reading a bit of the description. So I tried to tell her, "Ma'am, I noticed your previous job title is..." She cuts me off saying, "I'd appreciate if you don't snoop on my personal information." I apologized and tried to warn her once again, but she dismissed me before I could tell her with a, "Please, just print my order." Okay. I printed the entire stack of 50 resumes and was squaring them up when I noticed "Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet" in the last paragraph on the page. At this point, I had to tell her, right? As I'm walking over to the counter to show her the missed filler texts, she yells, "Will you please not crimp the pages? I need to hand those out." So I make it to the counter, gently placed her copies in a bag and rang her out. She did come back later to complain, but my manager assured her that we don't make it a practice to proofread customers' documents, as that's their responsibility. Well, OP, your boss is absolutely right. You did try to help her, but she just wouldn't have it, would she? Well, it's on her. Thanks for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.